الحمد لله عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته ومنتهى علمه وجميع ما شاء وخلق وذرع وبرع عالم الغيب وشهادة الرحمن الرحيم المالك القدوس العزيز الحكيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون أما بعد فيقول الله تعالى في كتابه يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون Alhamdulillah, we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank Him for blessing us to make it to another Jumu'ah, to another blessed day of gathering. Jumu'ah is, as the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, the most blessed day of the week. It's the most blessed day that the sun has risen. And also during that day, there's a moment in that day that is so special that if you were to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something, He would give it to you. If you were to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something, He would give it to you. Most of the scholars say that that moment or that time period during Jumu'ah, wherein Allah will bless you with something, is a period between Asr and Maghrib of Jumu'ah. Between Asr and Maghrib. That's why many of the people who try to seek nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you find them during that time period sitting down doing adhkar, doing dhikr, remembrance of Allah, or reading the Quran, or just sitting making dua, because it is during that time period, it is during that moment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you were to make a dua, that Allah will answer it and give you what you ask for. So remember, Jumu'ah, which is today obviously, and the period between Asr and Maghrib. Walhamdulillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Jumu'ah, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, idha nudiya lis-salati min Jumu'ah, fas'aw ila dhikrillahi wa dhurul bay'a. Dhalikum khayrun lakum in kuntum ta'lamun. O you who believe, when the call is made for the Jumu'ah prayer, hasten to the remembrance of Allah and leave off all business. That is better for you if you but do. We mention these things by way of reminder because sometimes we fall into a situation where we're used to doing something every day or every week or every month or every year, and because we're used to doing it, it becomes merely a routine. And sometimes when you're involved in a routine, something you do regularly, at the same time, every time that time comes about, sometimes you forget why you're doing it. Sometimes you forget the blessings or the reward or the favor in doing that thing. And it becomes robotic. You just do it. And you don't know why you're doing it. This is called ghafla, being in a state of heedlessness. You're just doing something or you're not doing it. You're just oblivious. You don't know what's happening. You don't know what's about to go down. And we need to stay out of that state of heedlessness. We always need to be conscious about what we're doing, why we're doing it, the best way to do it, and the best way to get the most blessings out of doing that thing. This is what Shaitan wants us to be. He wants us to be heedless. He wants us to be making salat and our mind be completely someplace else to such an extent that we don't know if we pray 1 rakat or 10 rakats. He wants us to be thinking about any and everything else. That's why it is said that when we forget where we are in the prayer, that Shaitan stole from the prayer. And Shaitan has a way of stealing from a lot of things, not only the prayer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah, O you who believe, fasting has been prescribed for you, the same way as it has been prescribed to those who came before you. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So that, or for the purpose of achieving taqwa. Most of us have the fasting part. Most of us have the fasting part. But we don't have the taqwa part. Some of us are very aware that the month of Ramadan is approaching very fast. This time next week we'll be in Ramadan. I say most of us, because it happened to me before. I was on a bus, and we were somewhere in the middle of the month of Ramadan. Maybe in the second week, maybe approaching the third week. And the brother came to me on the bus. He said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Akhi, tell me when the month of Ramadan starts. I looked around and said, brother, joking? So it was like we're in the middle of the month of Ramadan. I said, Akhi, Ramadan started over 2 weeks ago. He said, oh, subhanAllah, mashallah. That heedless, in that state of government to such an extent, the month had been in and is almost going to be out. And this poor brother, may Allah forgive him, didn't even know that Ramadan had already started. Some of us know that it's going to be here. Some of us know that in a few days we'll be fasting. But some of us do not know how to get the benefits out of the month. We are concentrating only on food. And we don't understand that the food, or the lack thereof, is merely a wasila. It's a means to something else. We are concerned with suhoor, the meal that we take before we begin the fasting day. We are more concerned with iftar, the food, the meal that we eat to break our fast. And for most of us, or many of us, that's the extent of the fast. And we're doing this for 29 to 30 days. Bismillah. Ramadan Mubarak. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He had prescribed this fast as it was prescribed to those who came before you. What do you mean? Do you mean that the previous ummah, the previous nations, the nation of Isa, Musa, and the previous Anbiya, the previous prophets, do you mean to tell me that they fasted during the month of Ramadan? No. They had other types of fasting. Fasting is based on imsak. Imsak means to do without something. And so there were many types of fasting. You have the fast on the day of Ashura. Fasting on the day of Ashura. Ashura is the 10th of the month of Muharram, the first month in our calendar. The 10th day of that month, Ashura. And Ashura, the fast on that day, was practiced by this ummah, Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, before the month of Ramadan was legislated. Before that ayat was revealed, the Muslims would fast during the month of Ashura, the day of Ashura. And in some narrations, we have a hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam found Bani Israel, the Jews in Medina, fasting Ashura. And he asked them, why are you fasting this day? And they responded by saying, this is the day in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved or rescued Prophet Moses from Pharaoh. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Ana ahaku Musa minkum. I have a greater right on Moses than you do. In other words, that we are following Moses more than you are. And so he made an intention to not only fast Ashura, but to connect it with a day before it or a day after it, for the sole intention to not imitate Bani Israel. You find in the Quran another type of psalm, another type of imsak, the fast of silence. It was practiced by Zachariah, and it was practiced by Maryam, alayha salam, when she gave birth to Jesus, Isa. One of the miracles of the Quran. She said, what am I going to say to my people? I'm a virgin, and I come before them with a baby. Allah informed her that you will not speak for a certain amount of days. And she returned to her people with a brand new baby. Said, yeah, Maria, what is this? Your father was an upright man, your mother wasn't a loose woman. How are you coming up with this baby? She pointed at the baby because she was doing a fast. Not because she couldn't speak. She was doing a fast that Allah had legislated for her. She did not speak. She gestured to the baby. And Isa, alayhi salam, he spoke as a baby. A newborn baby, he spoke. Inni Abdullah, verily I am the servant of Allah. He spoke. We are amazed when a 2-year-old speaks. Can you imagine a baby? You know, you get the baby out of the hospital and they still got a little piece of the belly button from the umbilical cord connected. Our brother knows he just had a baby. Can you imagine that guy speaking? Verily, I am the servant of Allah. This is amazing because some people still rejected him. You looking at, in your own eyes, this baby talking. This baby is speaking, exonerating his mother, informing them that he's going to be a prophet, talking. And still a great section of them disbelieved and rejected him. Some people, you can stuff the truth down their throats and they still reject it. They'll still vomit the truth up. We mention that because that's a form of fasting. Because Allah says, we have prescribed fasting upon you the way it was prescribed to those who came before you. And as we said, most of us got that. We understand that. But we don't understand la'alakum tattaqun, so that you may gain taqwa. We focus on the means of gaining taqwa, which is staying away from food. We focus on the means of gaining taqwa, which is staying away from our husbands and wives. But we don't focus on taqwa. We don't focus on the objective. We focus on the means. That's like us getting in the car going somewhere. We're going for a journey. It's a 30-day drive. And we stand around looking at the car that we're going to take to get there. And we want to play with the sunroof. And we want to take the long route. And we want to take all types of scenic routes. Because the car is enjoyable. Or we're focusing on the car. Someone in the car has to say, listen, we shouldn't be focusing on the car or the scenery. We're trying to get someplace. We're trying to achieve something. The method Allah chose for us for this time of Ramadan to get close to Him is fasting in the manner that He created to us. He ordained for us. It's the bab, it's the door that Allah chose or gave us to walk through. All doors aren't created equal. If you look at some doors, they're nice, solid wood, that they've been sanded to perfection. They have a nice coat of varnish on it. They have a beautiful window. The lock is not the little $8, $9 lock you get from Home Depot. It's a very fancy lock. Now, if you get caught up and distracted easily, instead of walking in the house, you'll stand at the threshold and like, oh man, this door is beautiful. It's solid wood. Oh, look at this window. I wonder if this door was handmade. I mean, ooh, look at the hinges. I mean, look, even the screws that is used to hinge it in there. I wonder who made this. That's the way some of us are. Well, if you're like me, I'm like, excuse me, brother, you can look at the door all you want. I'm trying to get in this. I'm trying to get inside. Excuse me. You can look at the door. You can feel the wood all day. Go ahead. I'm going in. And this is how we should think about the month of Ramadan. A lot of us get caught up on who's cooking the food. When is the food going to get here? I want to eat. Or what did you eat? Or why? We get caught up in all of these things, and we forget that the food is a means. It's a tool for something else. Walhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, wa afdalu salatu wa atamu taslim ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, wa radiyallahu ta'ala an as-sadat at-tabi'in wa ulama al-amilin وأئمة الأربعة المجتهدين ومقلديهم إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Shaitan is a smooth character. He gets us focusing on the means and has us forget about the objective. Listen to this verse that you all know. That's what Allah asked Shaitan, Iblis. What prevented you from prostrating when I commanded you? قَالَ أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِنْهُ خَلَقْتَنِي مِنْ نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ طِينٍ. He said, I am better than him. You created me from fire, and you created him from dirt. He had his own logical reason for doing other than what he was commanded to do. He forgot the simple part. What prevented you is amartuka, when I commanded you. The whole point is Allah Azza wa Jal is commanding you to do something. Anything you have in your head, any type of logic, any type of 1 + 1 = 2 you have in your head is irrelevant when Allah commands you to do something. Because you do not know more than Allah. Your logic will always fall short in the face of Allah's command. It's just not going to work. Even though you think you have it all figured out. A lot of times we have it all figured out. And as one who does counseling, one of the hardest people to counsel is someone that thinks they know everything. Here's someone comes to you with the problem, and he's telling you in this problem, for every other sentence, see, I know. See, I know myself, right? See, and I know, and I know. And the reason, and I know why I did it, because, and I know. If you know why you're here. The reality is you don't know. And one of the things that is blocking us is the fact that we don't know and we think we know. Many of us, we blow the blessings of Ramadan. Why? Number one, we get into argumentation. We get into argumentation in the beginning and at the end of Ramadan. What's the argument about? When do we start Ramadan? When we go end Ramadan? One of the best ways to get away from this is to fast when your community's fast. See, everyone wants to become a mujtahid imam 2 days before Ramadan starts. It don't work like that. And you think you know, well, see, that community, they fast based on calculation. And calculation is permissible because such and so. And that community right there, they fast based upon when Saudi fast. And that's permissible because such and such. Right? And that community right there, they go by local site. But their local is different from that other community local. Because local for them is the whole half of the United States. And this local for them is the only city. And we trying to figure all of this out. And then you get into a discussion with somebody else who don't agree with you. Then you start arguing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, he says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, ati'u Allah wa rasuluhu wa la tanaza'u fatafshalu wa tadhhaba rihukum wasbiru inna Allaha ma'as sabirin. Obey Allah and His Messenger and do not argue with one another. Fatafshalu, you will lose. In other words, Allah gave you 3 commands. Obey Him, obey His Messenger, and do not argue, right? We break that first command, arguing during the month of Ramadan. And put that cup down. This is Jumu'ah. Put it down. And do not argue. Fact asababiyah, causative fact. Fatafshalu, you will lose, you will fail, you will become incompetent. You won't be able to finish what you started. That's what fashal means. It's also another word that can be used to mean a miscarriage. Meaning a woman became pregnant, but she wasn't able to carry the baby to full term. She didn't complete it. But tafshalu, this is what's going to happen to the Muslim ummah when they disobey these orders, these commands from Allah. If you don't obey Allah, if you don't obey His messenger, if you insist on arguing with each other, فَتَفْشَلُوا, you will lose. وَتَذْهَبَ رِيحُكُمْ, and your wind, your himma will leave you. Your spirit, reek, like ruh, same word, different vowel. Your spirit will leave you. What does that mean, your spirit will leave you? Your motivation, your enthusiasm. I will come around the brothers, come to the masjid, break fast. When brothers argue and there's always fighting, it's a bad vibe, and the sisters over there upstairs and they click, the sister walk in and say, Assalamu alaikum, and like, there's 20 sisters in there. One sister say, Walaikum salam. That's a bad vibe. You don't like that. And so, tadhaba rikum, your spirit will leave you. You're like, I don't even feel like dealing with them today, but I'm just going to stay home by myself and break my fast with some ramen noodles, minus the sauce packet. Your spirit will leave. And don't think that an actual argument has to take place for this to happen. Because again, we forget that we are made of a jasad, a physical body, and a ruh. And a spirit. There's a physical part of our body and a non-spiritual part of our body. And our spirits interact sometimes in the absence of our bodies. A lot of us, we don't get that. We miss that. This is why two people can be off on a telephone on the other side of the planet, backbiting you. And you don't know about it. And nobody sticks on them. Nobody knows. And then you come around that person and it ain't the same no more. How did you know? Somebody told you? You just got to feel it. You can't put your finger on it. You may not even be aware of it. You may find out 5 years later that that person backbite you. And your mind will jump right back to when you had that vibe. I knew something was wrong. Your spirit will leave you. Be patient, and Allah is with those who are patient. Stay away from the argumentation. It's not obligatory on every individual person to find out when the fasting starts. That's what leadership is for. That's why leadership is going to be chained up on the day of judgment. And they're going to be unchained based upon their fulfilling the rights of those who they were responsible for leading. This is why when the Bedouins came out of the desert, and the Prophet and they came to the Prophet ﷺ and told him that they saw the moon. What did he say? You bear witness that there's no God but Allah, Muhammad is his messenger? He said, yeah. Then he told Bilal to announce to the people that the month of Ramadan had started. Look at the protocol there. They didn't just come and just, we saw the moon fasting. No, they came to the leadership, and the leadership announced it. That's how it's done. But we live in people during a time period where everybody knows everything. So they go on the internet, on Facebook, and Facebook told them when the month of Ramadan started. And there's some troll somewhere saying, I saw the moon. And we verified these things before. There's people talking emphatically. I know the brothers of such and such city, they go out all the time, and they saw the moon, such and such and such and such. We said, okay, give us the information. Well, I don't know the information. And so you find out the information, you call, and you finally get the contact information. And literally, we had this happen. We get reports all over the internet that y'all, specifically you and the brothers you go out with, saw the moon today. Well, we go out, but we ain't seen the moon tonight. Like, subhanAllah. So you have liars all over the place on the internet. The wrong place to get when you're going to begin and end Ramadan is the internet. You got liars, you got trolls, you got people, they don't care if they send you the hell or not. They don't care. They just, to them, the internet and social media is just confusion. It's just like when I was younger coming up, most people, if they wanted drama, they watch soap operas. All My Children, General Hospital, I don't even know if these things are still on TV. They watch these soap operas. But now, the entertainment for people is the internet. So if people just get online and they say everybody is saying 1, 2, 3, let me put out 4, 5, 6 and just see what happens and just watch it. This is their entertainment. And these people will do entertainment with your deen. You in the masjid arguing, fighting about when you fast and when you shouldn't fast. And the one who started the argument, you don't even know. He's some troll someplace in his mother's basement, funky socks hanging all over the place, not even Muslim, telling you that Ramadan started on such and such day. You in the masjid arguing about it. So don't get your start or your information from the internet. You must be connected in the community. You have to be connected to a community. And this part is absent. And this is the big elephant in the room that nobody wants to acknowledge. Because the problems were minimized when people belong to a community. You'd be like, alhamdulillah, what match did you go to? We go to this match, and we started on this day. Oh, man, mashallah, we go to that match, and we started on that day. Alhamdulillah. But now most of us get the bulk of our deen from social media, and so it's just confusion and haywire. So we missed the boat by arguing in the beginning and end of the month, because we have the Eid coming at the end of the month. And then we talk about looking for the last 10 nights of power, the night of power, in the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan. And we forget, why is it that we have to look for the night of power anyway? Why is it a secret to us? We forget the whole story. We forget what the Prophet ﷺ informed us. He was on his way to inform the Sahaba when the night of power was. And he came out and the Sahaba were arguing. So he came and broke up the argument, and Allah took that knowledge from him. So this is why we have to look for the night of power. There should be a message. Message! Don't argue! Well, a lot of us like to argue. We're argumentative type of people. There's a lot of people, there's some people, they just love to argue. If I pointed to that wall right there, I said, that wall, I like that tan wall right there. Do you know this? There will be somebody. I don't care if it's only 3 of us. One person will say, well, not really, I can't see. It got white trim on it, so you can't really say it's all tan. Then somebody else will come, well, I disagree that it's tan. It's light brown. Right? And then you have brothers arguing. The fact, can we agree that there's a wall there? Well, is it a wall? You got a door there. That's the type of people that we live in. The type of people that we live amongst. But if you want the blessings out of this month, stay away from argumentation. Focus on your objective, taqwa. Food is the means of getting. Begin your fasting day. In other words, stop eating before Fajr comes in. I have to emphasize it. A lot of people don't know that. Begin it before Fajr comes in. Now, I'm not going to go off on a technical tangent, because those of you who know me for a while, you know what the next conversation is after that. But I will say, do not go according to the prayer schedule. You have to make certain adjustments. Because if you go by the average prayer schedule, whether it's on your app or whether you print it out, regardless, the time that it says Fajr comes in, it's already in it. And so if you stop eating right at that time, you would be guilty of eating after you should have been stopped eating. And it has to do with calculation. I don't have time to go into it. So stop eating. And some people don't even know that. I've met some people, and I thought it was like some type of joke. Some people think that you can eat all the way up until the time that Fajr goes out. So it'll be bright. People be making pancakes. I'm like, you serious? What are you doing? You're supposed to stop eating. But a lot of people don't know. So if you hear my voice now, you know. You stop eating before Fajr comes in, the morning prayer. And you stop eating after Maghrib comes in, not before Maghrib comes in. And a lot of people can't take it. They can't take the 5 or 6 or 7, 8 minutes that it takes, because again, the prayer schedule is wrong. And it's hard for us in Pittsburgh to really appreciate it because there's so many mountains. But if you go to any city, my challenge, go to any city, if you happen to be in any city, and you can see the horizon or close to it, make a mental note of what time your prayer schedule says that Maghrib comes in, your app or your phone or whatever you're using. And then look at the sun. I guarantee you, you're in North America, and then your app, your dawn starts going off, and you can see the horizon, you'll still be looking at the sun. Guess what? That's not sunset. If you start eating before then, you would have broken your fast. But a lot of us, we don't care about that. The phone starts ringing, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Where the dates at? Oh, like the Incredible Hulk. Oh, like, you know, your brother turned green in the masjid. Like, where the dates at? Where the food at? What we waiting for? Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. This is not how we are. No, brother, calm down. 5 more minutes. We're concentrating on the food. We're forgetting the objective. Taqwa. Taqwa is the objective. One last piece of advice. Don't skip Tarawih prayer. This is one of the secrets. Do not skip Tarawih prayer. If it is physically possible, you don't have to work, make Tarawih prayer in the masjids. And I think most of, if not all of the masjids in this city offer Tarawih prayer. Make Tarawih prayer. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever stands and prays with sincerity and iman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive him for all of his previous sins. This is the elevator. This is what helps you get that top during the month of Ramadan. That's how we pray. But we're so concentrated on food that we forget all that. Because we'll serve the food at the masjid, and then it's Maghrib, date, Maghrib, food, birth, leave. Most of us don't even stay until Isha. Like, and if we stay till Isha, it's Isha time, we out. We ain't doing no Tarawih. You're missing it. You're looking at the door. You're not getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't do Tarawih prayer outside of Ramadan. You got Tahajjud and all that, yes, but you don't have Tarawih. And a lot of times we say Ramadan Mubarak. Do we really believe Ramadan is Mubarak? Do we know what Barakah is? If we really knew what Barakah is, we would not miss out on the Barakah. It's that spiritual energy. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم كسر ومن كسر وتقوى نرجو لي ولك